couple of days ago, I added this much transmission fluid to each of the cylinders.
Sounds like an idol to me.
A couple of days ago, I added this much transmission fluid to each of the cylinders. That's a whole lot. I know I've gone over this, but it's important that we get that compression up. I put so much that I need to get it out of there. So I saturated all the cylinders, and I was able to rotate it by hand. I expect oil to come out of that number 2 cylinder just like that because I put so much in it. Look, there's some oil coming out of those other ones. All right? So we do this by hand. We're working the mechanical part of the engine in preparation to run. We're going to run here in a few minutes. I've got a remote starter button hooked up to help make it easy. I'm going to crank it over and I'm going to expect a bunch of oil to come out of most of the cylinders. Check it out. Now that I've got most of it out, then I'm going to milk it a little bit. Milk it means cover the spark plug hole and release the spark plug hole. I'm going to do that to all of them. Doing that helps to smear the oil onto the cylinders, the rings, the valves, and even the head gasket. We're almost ready to run it. Yes, it makes a mess. We're almost to the moment of truth. I challenged myself that I was going to be able to make this old engine idle, not just rev and race and sputter. I'm going to make this engine idle like if it was never turned off. It's been 9 years. Let's get to the IV bag idea. But I was disappointed with the control. I was not able to get the flow that I wanted. It wound up simpler to just take a water bottle, poke a little hole on the end of it, open up the other end, and then test it with some water. Now, this is pretty close to what I want. Now, that little hole can be adjusted. You just push on that plastic a little bit. I've been experimenting with it if I want to slow it down. With this one, I was doing 2 things. I was trying to regulate the fuel and throttle up. With this one, I'm going to just skip the fuel and work on the throttle. Let's start it up. Crude but effective. Mexican ingenuity, I call it. It should fire right up because we've done all the preparation. I'm going to put a little bit of gas. It's going to start dripping, and I'm going to sweeten it up on the throttle. Wish us luck. A little bit of gas.
Sounds like an idol to me. What do you think? Not bad. Dripping right onto the throttle plate. I am idle.
I was able to determine that this engine is running on 6 cylinders. I don't hear any rod knock or any kind of mechanical noise. 9 years this engine hasn't run. But when you prep it, the cylinders, I'm going to leave a link in the description. I believe this is the 4th video on this project. And if you want to learn how I tested the ignition system, I'll also leave a link in the description. All we had to do was drip a little bit of gas onto the throttle plate. I got the idea from the very first fuel injection systems that came out. They would actually spray fuel right on top of the throttle body, and sure enough, it works. Okay, folks, thank you for sticking around. I hope you keep watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, it sure would help us if you could. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments section. Thank you again.